Lyra was just a mechanic. She lived on a small, dusty planet called Velen, far away from the big trade routes and political centers of the galaxy. Her job was to fix old transport ships and refill energy cells. Her life was quiet, simple, and mostly lonely. One evening, while she was closing her workshop, a small ship crashed near the edge of the desert. The signal came in broken, full of static. Most people ignored it. Crashes were common, and scavengers usually got there first. But something about that signal made Lyra stop. She grabbed her tool pack, started her old desert rover, and followed the weak signal. It took her 2 hours to reach the crash site. What she found there was unexpected, a Terran escape pod. A human. He was injured, unconscious, and barely alive. His suit was torn, and his oxygen supply was running out. The pod had no weapons, no valuable tech, and no beacon strong enough to call for help. He was alone, abandoned. Most people in the galaxy feared humans. Some called them dangerous. Others believed they were myths, warriors from a death world, too strong, too wild. But Lyra had never seen one before, and this one looked helpless. She didn't hesitate. She dragged him to her rover and brought him back to her workshop. For 2 weeks, she hid him, repaired his suit, and gave him food and water. He didn't speak much when he woke. Just one name, Reyes. He didn't ask why she helped him, and she didn't ask what happened to his ship or his mission. He recovered. Slowly, and when his energy returned, he fixed his pod silently and disappeared into the stars without saying goodbye. That was 5 years ago. Lyra didn't think much of it after that. Life continued. Ships came and went. No one ever spoke of humans again. The galaxy was too big, and her life was too small. To her, it was just a moment of forgotten favor to a stranger. But everything changed when the sickness came. It started. Slow. First, the trees on Velen turned black. Then animals began to vanish. Within weeks, people started coughing blood. Doctors had no cure. Trade ships stopped visiting. Borders were closed. Velen was quarantined. Lyra's neighbors began dying. Her friend Reek collapsed outside her shop one morning. The clinics were full, and there was no medicine. Panic spread. People began to believe this was the end. They sent distress calls, begged the council for aid. No one answered. Lyra sat alone in her workshop, surrounded by broken parts and silence, when her power grid shut down. She stepped outside and looked at the sky. A strange light blinked above her, blue and gold, silent and massive. It wasn't a moon, and it wasn't a local ship. It hovered above Velen's sky like a silent shadow. Then a voice echoed across every speaker, every comm device, every screen clear, deep, and calm. "This is Earth Command. Velen, we received your signal. Stand by for medical deployment." People froze. Earth? The death world? No one had spoken to Earth in decades. They had left the galactic stage long ago. Most thought they had returned to their own sector, isolated, silent. But now, Earth was here? Velen's leaders tried to respond, but the Earth ship didn't wait. Dozens of small drones shot from the ship's belly, flying through the skies like silver birds. They dropped pods across every town, pods that opened with glowing green light. Inside each pod was medical tech no one had ever seen. Machines that healed within hours. Serums that burned the sickness out of people's blood. The plague stopped spreading that same night. That no one knew why Earth came. But Lyra did. The next morning, someone knocked on her workshop door. She opened it slowly. There stood a tall man in dark armor, human, with a scar running down his cheek. His eyes were sharp, but kind. He removed his helmet and smiled. "Still fixing ships?" he asked. Lyra stared, confused. He held out a small metal tagger. "Old repair ID. From 5 years ago." She gasped. Ray's? He nodded. Earth remembers. She didn't know what to say. He looked around her shop, then added softly, "You saved me once. Now it's our turn." Asterisk, the skies over Velan stayed quiet after Earth's ship arrived, but the silence was not peaceful. It was powerful. Kind of silence that made people whisper and point at the stars. Wondering what came next. The massive Terran ship remained in orbit, unmoving and unnamed. It had no flag, no symbol, just a dark shape surrounded by a ring of slow-moving satellites. The local government tried to ask questions, but no answer came except one simple repeating message on all open frequencies. Earth remembers. Earth repays. Lyra watched it all from the roof of her workshop. She still couldn't believe Ray's had returned. The man she once saved was now leading this impossible miracle, but he was not alone. The next morning, 3 Earth medics arrived at her door. They were calm, focused, and spoke softly. One of them handed Lyra a small white device and said, "This tracks infection markers in your blood. Wear it." Another one gave her a silver badge. "You're now part of Earth's relief network. Stay in contact." Lyra blinked. "Why me?" The lead medic smiled gently. "You started it." Every day after that, Earth's machines continued working, cleaning air, healing people, restoring water. The plague that once threatened the whole population was now being reversed. Hospitals became quiet. Cemeteries stopped digging graves. The people began to walk outside again, looking toward the sky not with fear, but hope. Still, the Terran ship never gave a name. Not even Ray's would speak of it. One night later, Velan's council demanded a direct meeting with the Earth crew. They sent a message asking Ray's to appear in person at the Hall of Assembly. He accepted. Lyra was invited to attend. She sat in the back, silent, nervous. When Ray's entered, everyone stood still. He wore a plain black uniform, no medals, no titles. But when he spoke, his voice filled the chamber. 5 years ago, one of your citizens saved a human life. That act reached Earth. We do not forget. The council leader, an older man with gold markings on his robe, stepped forward. "Commander Ray's," he said carefully, "we thank you. But surely you know we sent hundreds of messages for help. No one replied. Why now?" Ray's didn't answer. Right away, he walked to the large screen behind him. It lit up with an image-grainy video footage. The room went silent. It was Lyra from 5 years ago, dragging an unconscious human body through the sand, struggling in the heat. She was younger. Her hands shook. Her eyes were full of fear, but she kept moving. Gasps filled the room. "That was a moment," Ray said, his voice quiet. "Small to you, but not to us." He turned to the council. When someone saves a Terran, Earth responds. No matter how long it takes, no matter how far you are. The room was frozen in silence. The council leader swallowed and nodded slowly. "We understand." Later that night, Lyra walked alone through the quiet city, trying to make sense of everything. A small child ran up to her and gave her a flower. "Thank you for calling the humans," the girl whispered. "My brother's better now." Lyra couldn't speak. She just knelt down and hugged the child. From the corner, Ray's watched. He stepped forward. "You didn't call us, Lyra. We were always coming." She looked at him. "But why no name for? Your ship? Why stay hidden?" Ray's face turned serious. "Because this isn't just a rescue. Something else is happening. The sickness wasn't natural." Lyra froze. "What do you mean?" He looked up at the sky, toward the nameless Terran ship. "It wasn't a plague," he said. "It was an attack." Lyra's heart began to race. "Who would do that?" she asked. Ray's looked at her with cold eyes. "The ones who wanted this world silent before Earth could arrive." The stars above Velan no longer felt beautiful, they felt dangerous. Lyra stood at the edge of her workshop roof again, watching the giant Terran ship silently floating in orbit. Its lights blinked like watching eyes. It had no name, but the galaxy had already started whispering about it. Some called it the Ghost Vessel, others the Deathbringer. But Earth gave no answer. It simply worked. But now, Reyes had told her the truth. The sickness wasn't natural. It was planted. It was meant to kill Velan's people before Earth arrived. But why? The briefing room inside a secure Terran command tent, hidden deep in Velan's northern forest, Lyra sat across from Commander Reyes. Around her were human scientists, tacticians, soldiers, all calm, all serious. Reyes placed a small object on the table. It was black, glass-like, shaped like a coin. The moment he touched it, it projected a map into the air Velan and several nearby planets. Then it showed red dots, one after another, dozens, hundreds. All these planets, Reyes said, have shown signs of the same engineered plague. But only Velan survived? Lyra looked up. Because you stopped it. He nodded. Because of you. A scientist leaned forward. The infection was timed. Launched from a satellite disguised as space junk. It was cloaked. We only found it yesterday. Lyra stared at the map. Who would do that? Reyes' jaw clenched. We believe it's the Narex Dominion. They want this sector for expansion. Your world was in their way. She had heard the name before. The Narex were ruthless, always looking for weak planets to absorb. They avoided war by using Shadow's disease, sabotage, manipulation. Lyra's voice dropped. You think they knew I helped a human? Reyes looked directly at her. No, but they knew Earth was coming. The warning that night, every major building on Velan received a new broadcast, not from Earth, not from Velan, but from the Narex Dominion. The message was short and chilling. Stand down, Terrans. This world was marked. It belongs to us now. You owe it nothing. The image showed a Narex general in silver armor, standing over a table of star charts Velan circled. In red dot, panic spread again. People feared Earth would retreat, that the Terrans would leave them to face the Dominion alone. But Earth didn't move. Instead, the Terran ship began to unfold. Massive armor plates shifted. Dark cannons rose from the hull. Hidden engines roared softly into life. It was no longer just a medical vessel. It was a warship. The secret room back at the command tent. Reyes led Lyra into a private chamber. She noticed a strange case on the wall shaped like a coffin. What's in there? She asked. Reyes tapped the panel. It opened. Inside was a sleek black suit. Human in design. Alien in feel. This, he said, is a prototype. Designed only for people Earth trusts. People who change outcomes. She laughed nervously. Me? He nodded. You're more than a mechanic now. You're the reason we're here. Lyra stepped back. I didn't ask for any of this. Reyes' voice softened. But your kindness asked for everything. The decision that night, Earth's ship sent a single message to the Narex. This world is under Terran protection. You may challenge that, but understand Earth repays its debts in full. No reply came, but they all knew the Dominion would. Come. Lyra sat in her small workshop, her hand on the edge of the suit's case. The stars outside twinkled, but her heart was heavy. She was just a mechanic once. Now the fate of her planet might rest in her decision. She whispered to herself, what does a favor cost, really? From the stars above, the Terran ship answered with silence. But silence. Full of power. Asterisk the next morning, Velan's skies darkened. Not from clouds, but from shadows that didn't belong there. Strange shapes moved in low orbit. They weren't birds. They weren't human. They were Narex specter drones. long and black like silver snakes with wings, silent, watching, recording. The people of Velen looked up with fear, but no one screamed. They were tired of screaming. Earth's warship remained still. Its systems scanned every movement. Inside, the Terran command crew tracked the drones, silently waiting. Reyes stood at the main viewing platform of the ship. Lyra was beside him now, wearing the prototype suit he gave her. Not a soldier's armor, but something else. It adapted to her thoughts, her movements, like a second skin. Still, she felt out of place. "I'm not a warrior," she whispered. "You don't have to be," Reyes replied. "You were never meant to be one. That's why this matters." She looked at him. "I don't understand." Reyes turned to the massive holodisplay behind them. With one command, he showed her a memory one only Earth had access to, a secret. Uncovered, the image displayed an old, hidden Narix facility in deep space, empty now, but still transmitting faint signals. Inside it were thousands of small glass tubes. Inside those tubes were viruses engineered, coded, named. One of them, Valen Strain 4. Reyes explained. The Dominion doesn't invade with ships first. They invade with death. Quiet death. So they don't look like conquerors. Lyra felt her breath freeze. They want to make Velen look like a natural loss, a dead world. Then they move in as saviors, offering aid. But in truth, they erase cultures, identities, and rewrite everything under their rule. She felt sick. "But you stopped that," Reyes said softly. "You did it 5 years ago." Velen's Roll Earth had suspected the Narix for years, but they needed proof. Velen became the proof. Reyes pointed at the ship's control wall. "Our AI, I tracked the satellite that released the virus. It wasn't from Velen. It was tagged by a Narix research vessel hidden inside asteroid debris. And you're just helping us out of guilt?" Lyra asked. Reyes shook his head. "No, we're helping you, because you helped us, when no one else would. Because when someone saves a human, Earth remembers. That's not strategy. That's honor." A sudden shift in alarm sounded. A holographic map opened. One of the Narix drones had powered up a signal. It wasn't just spying. It was transmitting coordinates. A red warning blinked. "Warp gate activation detected. They're calling reinforcements." One of the Terran techs shouted, "Battle cruiser class." 2 minutes out. Reyes stayed calm. He turned to Lyra. "We expected this." She blinked. "You're not worried?" Reyes walked to the window. "No, I want them to come." Lyra stared. "Why?" "Because the galaxy needs to see," he said. "What Earth does when someone touches one of ours." The battle begins. 2 Narix warships exited the warp above Velen, black and angular like floating knives. Their weapons charged. Their message was clear. This world belongs to the Dominion. Leave. Reyes responded by tapping the side of the zone. Window. Earth's warship unfolded completely. Dozens of invisible gun ports opened glowing blue. Hull plating shifted like metal wings. The ship that once looked like a peaceful aid vessel now revealed its real name in glowing red letters. TNV Justice, Class. RETIBUTEON, Lyra whispered. "You were waiting." Reyes nodded. "We never forget a favor, but we never forgive an attack." The battle began before anyone on Velen even knew it. From the surface, the sky just flickered a flash of blue lightning stretched across the horizon, then silence. But in orbit, it was a storm of precision. The 2 Narix battlecruisers charged. First dot, their cannons glowed red, targeting the Terran warship TNV Justice. Missiles launched. Plasma beams cut through space. The sky turned into a war zone, but Justice didn't dodge dot. It didn't need to. Instead, it fired once. Just once. A beam thin as a needle hit the lead Narix ship dead center. No explosion. No flames. The ship just vanished, atomized, the second. Cruiser froze. Its captain sent a warning message across the battlefield. Retreating. We were misinformed. We did not know this was Terran business. Then it jumped away, engines burning in panic. Silence. After the storm down on Velen, people stepped out into the streets, unsure of what just happened. Some thought it was an earthquake. Others believed it was the end of the world. But when they looked up, all they saw was the Terran ship unchanged, floating in peace again, like nothing happened. Lyra stood beside Commander Reyes on the bridge, heart pounding. That was... She couldn't finish the sentence. He nodded. Yes, it was. She turned to him. You destroyed a warship with one hit. That's not rescue. That's power. Reyes looked at her, more serious than ever before. You saved a life. Earth saves worlds. A gift returned later that day. Reyes brought Lyra to a lower hangar bay. There sat a small, sleek ship, jet black, no name on its side. But as she stepped closer, she saw something etched into its surface in fine silver lettering. For the one who reached out. It was a personal transport advanced, beautiful, and completely Terran. But this ship wasn't just a gift. It was hers. Reyes handed her a small crystal key. You once gave me tools, shelter, water. You gave me a way out when I had nothing. Now, I return the favor. This ship responds to your voice. You are registered in Earth systems as a trusted ally. Lyra was speechless. I don't know how to fly this, she whispered. Reyes smiled. Then we'll teach you. The decision that night, the Council of Velen met to decide what came next. Should they join Earth's protection network? Should they stay neutral? Or run, fearing the Narix would return? The room was full of fear. Until the doors opened and Lyra walked in. She didn't wear her old dusty clothes anymore. She wore the adaptive suit. Behind her were 2 Terran officers. And when she stepped onto the central platform, the whole room fell silent. I was just a mechanic, she said calmly. I didn't plan to become anything more. She looked at them all, her voice steady. But Earth showed me something. They don't come because they want power. They come because someone once showed them kindness. That kindness saved us. She paused. The question now is, do we let this miracle end here? Or do we build something stronger together? One council. Members stood up. But why would Earth care about us beyond this? Reyes, standing at the back of the room, finally spoke. Because she is one of ours now. A new beginning word spread fast across nearby systems. Velen survived the plague. Earth saved it. The Narix had been repelled, and in the center of it, a mechanic named Lyra had stood beside the humans. Now she was being called something new, the one Earth remembered. Velen didn't sleep that night. Messages flew across the stars. Whispers turned to news. News turned to fear. The Narix Dominion, humiliated by the defeat of their warship, had activated a long-dormant fleet. 10 warships, 1 dreadnought, all headed toward Velen. This time, they wouldn't send a message. This time, they would make an example. In the quiet darkness of space, Earth's ship TNV Justice floated calmly unmoving, almost relaxed. But inside, its systems prepared for war. Commander. Reyes stood before a table full of officers. Lyra stood beside him, now in full command uniform earth blue armor, marked only with a small silver symbol over her heart, a circle split by a single star, the mark of a trusted ally. A final message raised turned to Lyra. We have one last choice. She raised her head. What is it? He handed her a datapad. On the screen was a direct comm channel to the Narix fleet. Most humans wouldn't send a warning, but you might. Lyra looked at the button. They won't listen. Reyes smiled. Maybe not, but Earth repays in full, even in mercy. She pressed it. Her voice echoed through space. This is Lyra of Velan. You came once in the shadows. You planted poison. You tried to erase us. And now you come again with fire. But this time, Earth is here, and Earth remembers. Turn back, or be remembered in ruin. No reply, only silence. Then, red lights blinked on the map. They were coming. The last stand that never happened. As the Narek's fleet reached Velan's orbit, their formation locked, all systems armed. Their dreadnought's energy core burned hot, ready to fire. But then, something impossible happened. Earth didn't just send justice. Behind it. One by one, 5 more Terran ships exited warp. Each one darker than the last. Each one with no markings, no broadcast codes, no flags. They were Terran Black-class warships. Ships so advanced, so secret, the galaxy didn't even know if they existed. Now they were real. The Narek's dreadnought's captain screamed into the comms. What is this? We didn't declare war on Earth. A Terran AI responded coldly. Incorrect. You declared war. On a favor. The sky burns. The battle lasted 17 seconds. 7 Narek's ships were vaporized before they could fire. 3 tried to retreat. Only 1 made it out. The Velan people stood outside, watching the sky pulse with silent blue flashes. No debris fell. No flames touched the ground. Earth fought cleanly, swiftly, without mercy. Reyes turned to Lyra as the last enemy ship blinked out of range. It's done. But Lyra didn't speak. She walked outside the command room, onto the observation platform, and looked up at the stars. She whispered, "Why, my?" Reyes followed her, silent for a moment. Then he said, "Because you were the only one who didn't ask what Earth could give. You simply gave, the gift that changed the galaxy days past." Then weeks. Earth didn't claim Velan. It didn't install control towers or build military bases. It simply restored what was lost, left behind medicine, clean water systems, and power grids that would run for centuries. And then it left, except for one ship. Lyra S. She was invited to join Earth's diplomatic exploration unit. As a living symbol of what one act of kindness could become, she visited worlds where humans were still feared, her voice calming them. She helped settle disputes where war was near. Wherever she went, the name Velan became known not for its suffering, but for its honor. The galaxy learned something that day. When humanity owes you a favor, the impossible becomes your future. Asterisk